I can't hear them.
I can't hear them.
Wow, they are incredible.
It's funny, it looks like the front of a plane cockpit.
They're beautiful. They're so big.
Yeah, they don't scare me.
They don't scare me.
The little ones, when they start winging out, do. But now if these were flying, they'd probably scare me. But Mom had a pretty nice pace.
They're overwhelming.
Yeah, if there was a 100-mile-an-hour wind out here, we wouldn't be here, I imagine.
I'd probably not let you in.
And there, look at that. There's an old American windmill right there. Water pumper. There's the middle of all of them.
They did that on purpose.
And there's Kent.
I'll discuss a little bit about the size and answer some questions, and I'll actually let you go into the base of the turbines. A little different.
Wow, they're quiet. They're not even noisy.
I could have told you that.
Yeah, well, everybody says they're so noisy.
Well, the original concept, the 20 to 60 kWs or up to 80 kWs, were a lot like that design there of that one.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've ever been around there, what do? Clang, bang.
Right.
Same thing applies with those smaller units. So.
That's amazing.
I'm going to start talking. Around the front up here, get everybody around. You know, I can do it from here. It doesn't matter to me where we do it at. Just try to get everybody up in the same area. One of the biggest complaints when we first started was noise, and it was a hard selling factor that they were concerned about. Noise at one of these sites would be detrimental to both. We have buffalo on that side over there. We have cattle over here sometimes. We have antelope here out on this side here. And that was one of the concerns that the installation of these would cause problems. The one rancher over there was really against it. Says we don't want them anywhere. They'll cause my cattle to dry up, do whatever. By the way, when we were building these, the cattle during the afternoon would sit there and do one of these things where it was their, Sunday afternoon matinee or whatever. They'd line the fence and watch what was going on over here. During the summer months, the antelope and the cattle, I had to bring a set of, the owner of this particular ranch that we're on right now is Phil Roman. And from 98 till last year, he didn't run cattle out here. And the reason he didn't run cattle was, obviously he made enough money he didn't need to. But my problem was, as my grass started getting up here in the 3-4 foot range, and we had fires on both sides of us, so I forced him 2 years ago to bring cattle back out on the site. So one of the things that we've noticed with the cattle and with the antelope is in the summer months, there was no shade for them in the earlier year before these things. So you'll see them lined up in the shade, and after a while you'll see the whole group of cattle or antelope. This site was, and we were talking in my car a little bit, so I'll try to catch up what was going on in the car too. One of the reasons this site is here is twofold. One, it's good wind. Second of all, we have a power line already in here. There's 2 power lines, over 115 and a 230 kV, so this made this a really good site for a wind generation. Power lines give you a real rough idea. A 230 kV power line runs somewhere around between $400,000 and $500,000 a mile. So you can start seeing adding it up, it adds up quickly. We also did a site, we've done 3 bird surveys on this site. We average about 20 birds a year kill on this site, which is very, and I'll put it in a little bit numbers. The average, let's see, what is it? There's usually 10,000 birds a year, or is it a year, are killed by cats, or per cat, something like that. It's very high. Buildings are 100,000. Cars are up in that 100,000. So, as on the deal, if you looked at a turbine is responsible for about 0.0001 birds in a year, or something like that. So, usually there's a very low bird kill on those sites. The Ultima Pass site was a little bit different. It actually did 2 things. They built it on a kind of a migration area. They built it on a ridge line where there's a lot of raptors anyway. The type of turbines are a little different. The turbines there are not enclosed. They're a lattice tower, so there was a place for them to rest up there. They also had a bunch of rock piles because they built the foundation stuff. They put these rocks all over in a pile. Well, that's where the rabbits ended up living. So they brought the prey in close to the tower, and the blades turned quicker. All of those meant there was high death kills on that site. We've had 1 raptor up here killed, and it wasn't because of the turbines. It was actually electrocution on the power lines over there. So, and we've actually went back and refixed that, so we're very noticeable. We've tried to minimize our bird kill down here. We also did an archaeological site, looking for any Indian artifacts and stuff like that. We found a few, but not very much, nothing to be concerned about. Kind of the size, these are 170 feet in height. So that gives you kind of an idea. That's about 17 stories high. And as I tell people, these are the small ones now. These were built in 1998, and there's 30 megawatts out here, 44 units. These are a little taller over there, they're 212 feet. A lot of the units now being built are at the 250 to 300 foot high. So that's the hub height. These blades here are 70 feet long. They have a wingspan or a sweep area of 150 feet. These put out 3/4 of a megawatt. The new ones coming out, I will call it the standard right now, will be between 2 and 2.5 megawatts. So that gives you how they've gained in just a little sizes, power they're generating. As far as the operation of them, these, if you kind of look at the top of these, it's kind of hard to see. That's an aviation light, a big light on the end, but there's 2 wind vanes on there that are always seeking wind, telling this unit how to turn. These bigger plant, but what they do at night, they'll pump the water from the main lake back up to the top, and then during peak generation periods, they'll actually come and pump it down. That's what it generates during the peak generation period back in the day. Cost-wise, coal normally about, I'm going to say around the $3, or well, let's go 3 cents per kW. It's megawatts, something like it's 30 megawatts. So 3 cents. Gas has been all over the place. Like 2 years ago, it was up there running probably 9 cents a kW, where right now it's actually down at the 1.2 cents a kW because of all the extra natural gas in this area right now. And we're actually running below the cost of a coal at our gas plants right now. The Cabin Creek's probably around 5 cents a kW. These units out here, we run somewhere around 5 cents, 5.7 cents per kW. And that's basically because the power is free. The wind power is free. But my maintenance cost was not what they told us it was all going to be. Everybody says, put them up and they will run. They forgot to tell us about things like gearboxes going bad, generators going bad, cables being torn too.
They're all up there too.
And it's all up there. And I was telling a little bit about, I have like those 2 units at the end of this row here right now have gearboxes out of them. That unit right there actually had a blade and a gearbox come down out of it. Came out of it. And I actually got to see that. This one's a gearbox here too. By the end of this, by October, the end of October. My windy season starts in October, by the way, kind of correlates with that, and goes all the way through March. That's my windy season. I'm probably in a capacity factor of about 70%. Right now, this time of year, I'm about 10%. The capacity factor is, if you took these units, it says this is 3/4 of a megawatt. It runs 365 days a year at 24 hours, and at full value 3/4. That would be full capacity. Obviously, an overall site capacity is around. That gives you a pretty good idea. Up higher, you just don't hear that a lot. You guys got some questions? Maybe spur some thoughts here.
You mentioned they're going higher. How much change do we see in wind as it goes up?
It's more consistent. It's not so much that it's better, or there's more of it. It's more consistent. When you have ground clutter, and some of the problems with ground clutter, puts interferences in the wind and how it flows and stuff like that. That's like this little unit here. Probably you'll never see the speeds that you'd see up there. Give you an idea, we talked about spacing. If somebody wanted to know a little bit about spacing, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about what we pay landowners and stuff, and I can't tell you that in fact, but I'll give you some ranges. Right now, we space our units between turbines is 3 diameter lengths. Somebody says, why don't you put them closer? Because the turbines coming between the two would actually cause that turbine probably not to operate, or it would operate not at good sufficient efficiency. Then we also space them 5 between rows. And our predominant winds here is normally this way. If you notice how our rows are laid out, they're almost perpendicular to the predominant winds. So we try to space it there, and there's 5 diameter lengths between. I talked to I'll call it a designer just a couple weeks ago, and they did 8 to 10, and we're only seeing like maybe 20 kW difference between that row and this row. So to me, I think you'd be losing a lot of your power if you went much further out than that. So I think you could run an extra row probably in what they're doing. So again, I'm an electrical engineer, and I've learned a lot about wind, so I'm not the expert on design and stuff like that, but I have a pretty good knowledge. One of the reasons we put everything underground is twofold. One was kind of the birds. Second of all, you got cranes working around here. Cranes and power lines don't work. So, and the third part was the aesthetics. It's really nice to come out here and look at these and have a power line running alongside of them. As far as the rancher here, we talked, he had a consistent, I'll call it input of, so it was not necessary for him anymore. And he's in his 70s anyway, and I think he just has a good way of living in that I'm sure he can get out the efforts when some of them and they do 3 types of different braking system on these. On the tips of these units are actually pitched out into the bend when you want to brake. You have to slow the unit completely on you fairly quickly there. And then we actually have a set of disc brakes just like your car up there that clamps down and stops them. We did have it originally, they would shut down between 9 and 10 seconds or something like that, which we found was very hard on the towers, very hard on the blades, very hard on the gearboxes. So we've actually went back and redesigned them and put what we call soft stops on them. Takes them about a minute and a half to shut it down. The only time we don't want them to shut down that slow is if we have a runaway generator. That would be something happening to the generator, then it would just speed up very quickly, and we have one stop in there that would go quicker than that. So
They shut down, okay? You'll stop them, and then how do they approach the wind?
these here just stay just like the car.
They just stop.
They stop right there. Those are kind of the next ones. They're probably like a 1970 or 1980 car that's got a few more stuff in there. And then the new ones coming out are like your 2007 cars and stuff with all these gadgets and computers and it does all of this stuff. The electronic cost of repair to keep them going is skyrocketing. I don't have as much as they do on there. So that's kind of how technology is run with this. So it's kind of trading both ways. In some ways, I really like my old car, but the newer ones do run a whole lot nicer. But the reason is how they push the blades in and out. They usually allow them to move in and
Well, that seems like
well, that's what I tell people. Electrical, but that doesn't mean I know everything about electric. What these are these induction motors. The induction motors like 60 hertz. So on these, the way these generators are designed, or induction motors are designed, they'll come up to 60 hertz, and that's what controls the actual speed on these units. Is the induction motor itself and how it operates. When it gets up to that 60 hertz, it just kind of settles. And so that's what it is.
how you run, but now it's a stronger because of you. Right, you draw more
Power out of it, so you don't get any faster.
Right, so you work generator to resist the wind.
So that's kind of how it works. Those over there actually they're still the same thing, but when they go over their 660, they're 660 what they generate at. They actually have a heating system in the back that starts burning that which never made sense to top of excess power, but it's part of their control system of how they maintain their speed and their power. These here will actually go above the megawatts of the generator. We have with these units here are built out between $800 and $1,000 per kWf. So this is 3/4 of a megawatt. So you can basically figure this is $3/4 of $1 million is what this unit costs. Nowadays, cost because the price of steel going up, price of copper going up, and there's all these mandates that you have to put them in. Then the manufacturer's cost has gone up. They've gone up somewhere around, I'm hearing, between $1,700 and $2,000 per kW. So this same unit would basically run what we were at to somewhere around 3 kW is what I'm hearing right now. So to give you a rough idea. So this site here was basically a $30 million site that was built out. Today it cost me $60 million to build the same site.
What are the little black window looking thing up at the top?
The window itself,
Yeah.
or the window
Like,
is part of a
what's behind
radiator. It's part of a radiator system, and it
What-
kind of keeps it's kind of like your radiator in your car. It keeps my generator cool.
What's behind the radiator? Is there
That's-
like a control room or something?
Well, it's a pretty good sized little area, but in there is my generator, which is a pretty good size. It's about like this, stands up about this high. There's a bunch of pumps that moves the oil and stuff around. I have a gearbox and a brake system up there, so that's kind of what's up there. Kind of like your car, if you think about it. Think about what's under the hood of your car, and underneath that's kind of what's up there. And if you look at your pictures, there's actually some pretty good pictures to show you what's been there. If you didn't get one, let me know. I have some extras.
How deep do the footings go down there?
There's actually 3 types of footings. We have 2 of them on this side. This one is what they call an inverted T. It goes down 12 feet and then it spreads out like this 44 feet. So it's 44 foot square underneath us. So you're standing on the footer. The other units over there go down straight 30 feet. They just drill it out. It goes down 30 feet and they put one pipe inside of another pipe, set some bolts inside of it, and then pour that full of concrete. And then set the tower on top of it, pour a pad, and then set the tower on top of that. The other one is in real rocky areas. They'll actually blow the rock out, drill bolts back into it, and then pour it with concrete. And that's kind of what they call a rock socket. So those are the 3 that I know of. And again, I'm electrical. That's the ones I know of anyway.
So these are all freestanding. You don't have any guided towers.
No guided towers. The only guided towers you have are for your wind. I'll call it the wind metering stations. It's the only ones we have, which are actually, the guided towers are very hard on the population too. So, anything else?
What is the total output, average output of this in your season for this part right here?
Well, like I said, if you want to do that, 30% would be the average, or that's a capacity factor for the year.
So that's how many megawatts?
You're beyond my
Just
part. No, this is a 30. Let's go like this. This is 30 megawatt farm. Okay. So if you said 30%, basically 10%.
And how much does rawhide?
Oh, I don't know. I'll tell you what Fort St. Vrain puts out. Fort St. Vrain is 700 megawatts, and it has a capacity factor of about 74 or 75%. Gas turbines. Coal power plant is probably how many kilowatt hours does this produce a year? 60 megawatts. I've heard something like 60 kilowatt hours. Again, if you really want to do a real rough calculation, you can do 0.57. You can do 30 megawatts. You can do 365 days a year, 24, and then add that 0.3 in there, and that would give you a rough idea of what it produces and how much money it would make. So. 44 towers here with 30 megawatts is the output that the unit sells.
For sure. You can see when you go to California, all over the place. It's like one truck. And how about those 2 states were the ones that...
Ticked off? California has always been one of those states that had it early, and the reason is that they have the Altamont Pass and the Tallahatchie Pass, and the advantage of those 2 areas is they get the winds that come in there from the, I'll call it, from the sea/desert, so they have that constant flow of air, usually morning and evening. That's why it was set up there. It was a very high capacity. They're probably the highest in the nation, about 40, and if you remember, most of those were little units. California for many years was the, I'll call it, the wind producer of the States even in Europe. They were high in the list of it. California, if you look on the top of the list, they're down there about 17, 18 really. If you look at I think I give some maps. North Dakota and South Dakota and Montana are the top 3, could be the top 3 producers of wind. The problem is they don't have any power lines, so they don't get to see a lot of that. Colorado is like 10th or 11th, Wyoming 7th, and from Colorado down, it's like we can produce 465. I don't know what the value is. The next drop down from us is like 74. Wyoming is like 600 or something like that, and actually the Dakotas is in the 2s, like 200 or 2,000 compared to our 700 or something like that. So the wind is actually, the plains is actually a better place for it even in California. California was supplanted by Texas, which is in the plain area, and will probably grow into the 400 or 4,000 megawatts in the next couple of years. Colorado will probably move into real quickly 300 at Grover, at 1,000 megawatts of wind power coming out in the next 6 to 8 months, I would say, is that's where it's at. So it's going to go.
So this goes straight from power to transformer to grid use. That's significant.
2 steps. Transformer to there's another transformer in between. To a collection system, to another transformer, and then to the grid. It's still pretty simple.
How big of a parcel of land is this farm on?
Between 6 to 8 sections. Section.
35 acres.
Oh no, it's section.
How about in the European countries? Which are the leaders in this?
The Denmark is probably the Danish are the biggest one. They are the big. Germany is probably right behind them. I mean, those 3 are probably the big ones. Right?
How about Ireland?
Britain is coming along, but they're not still in it. And they're probably Britain's still a little bit more out in the ocean and stuff like that. But they're still pretty small. So no, they're not the big ones. Do you guys want to take a quick gander in here? Just go open it up and let you guys come in. You got any more questions?
Are these American-produced wind turbines, or they're Danish? Okay.
These are Micon, which was bought out by. Take a peek, then we're gonna go. Go ahead, take a peek. Then we're gonna go.
That's good. Yeah, I was wondering what the tip speed is. Did he say? Yeah.
Are we all going in?
But at 22 RPM, well, I could figure it out. How fast they're going.
They must really gear those up.
You don't want to hear anything. If you hear turbulence, that's on the tip and that's drag. So, they try to get these things so they slice as efficiently as they can, I'm sure. Real art and science to getting a blade to work well.
There is.
Especially at this size.
Yeah.
Just a rough idea, that's 50 foot each one of the platforms. There's 3 up there. And so it gives you kind of an idea that the only way up is with this ladder. You put a harness on and up you go. That's the only way up and down. We bring cranes in, they still go up here to get to the cranes to do the hook up on the cranes. So
Those blades always face the wind, right?
always face the wind. This thing's turning 360 degrees.
That's what I was wondering about. How does the cables don't get twisted?
Well, I have a counter up there, and then when it gets up to the 3 counts, pull 3 full relations and stop, and unwinds. Otherwise, it's like the old airplanes with the rubber band. It goes, and we don't like that because it cost me about $20,000 for that.
You actually have a motor that turns this.
Yeah, there's 5 motors actually up there on the top, and the computer says turn, 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 turn. So it's always maintaining that into the wind. So it's motors that do that. They're called yacht rides. There's, like I said, these big gears up there on the top, and they run inside those gears.
Do those generators have exciters in them?
They don't. They're induction motors, basically.
Well, the grid excites them.
The grid excites them, that's why you need the 60 hertz. And that's the controlling factor here. It keeps them up to the speed they go to.
So these are the power cables coming
That's
down.
the power cables coming down.
A lot of juice running through there right now.
Yeah, about full production there, about 400 amps going through it.
So they're putting out full production right now.
No, they're not. At full production, that's what they be. Right now, they're running about 80 kW.
Oh, wow.
So a tenth of what I could do.
What wind speed do they actually crank out 3/4 to make?
Probably start turning around 30 miles an hour, and there's 3/4, and they'll take that all the way up through that 55, 57 miles an hour.
Those blades are moving about 100 miles an hour right now.
150 miles an hour at tip speed.
At 22 RPM.
At 22 RPM.
It's like 450 foot circumference on that thing, and they're going around about 3 seconds.
The diameter is 150 feet, so. You guys want to go look at a blade on the ground, and then we'll let you guys head on your way.
What is the tip speed ratio on these?
Well, figure 22 RPMs and I don't know,
Off at, I'm not sure.
50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So. Do the math.
Do the math. Oh.
I'm not a math.
Never recommend a community do this. We're talking about CSU doing it and what it would take. My gearbox, brand new gearbox for these units, is $125,000. Generator $125,000. The blades are $249,000. So just to kind of give you an idea what replacement parts are, there's not many small communities I know that have that kind of money in their back pocket. And even small ranchers and stuff, I said, you know, it'd be nice and it'd be a deal. At 20 or 30 you could justify it, but again you'd have to start taking the money immediately you make, putting it in the bank and waiting when you do have problems. So it's not something that's just kind of like your car. If you never took it in for repair, then all these things on the ground after a while. Let's go to the right here. We'll look at a set of blades on the ground, okay?
See 'em?
Oh yeah, yeah. You can see the brakes on them.
I came in and flicked the ash off my cigarette. Wow, kind of weird how things happen like that.
So these are all the tipped ones. Yeah, they all have tips that move.
You see how those tips are turned, woman?
Yep. Thanks for the keep.
Yeah, it keeps them stopped. The brake.
Could you build a mini one of these, Dad?
Yeah. I kind of got a mini one. Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, my hair is one.
Oh, yeah. I think it's so cool that these older people are out here.
So now we get to see a set of blades on the ground. Must be for that one down there.
We've got 3 kids and 3 older people that got educated.
3 kids?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, there they are. See them laying on the ground down there?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I saw them from over there. You didn't see them?
Oh no, I didn't see them.
I took a picture from over there because when we got closer, I didn't think I'd be able to.
So he said there's only 20 birds killed out here about a year. That ain't very
Well,
much.
and you know what? It's not because the wind turbines turning.
Yeah.
It's because they fly into them, just like everything else. They fly into buildings.
Right.
They fly into windows.
So they land on power lines and get killed. I've seen several birds killed by power lines.
I can't remember.
Wow, look at that thing. Incredible.
He's kind of shy.
Yeah.
Every time I walk up to talk to him, he walks away.
Yeah. That's okay. People are shy.
How are they shy?
I like the high-tech stands you have here for this.
Well,
tires.
or hay. We use them quite often.
We use our time driving home.
That's good.
Wow.
Well, these actually, these things now are going to be there like Windsor. Windsor is getting a brand new plant, and they will be making blades like this. Vestas will be the blade makers. Vestas in Windsor. They're in this. Yeah, they will be. They opened up a plant. Well, it should be in production March of next year.
That's all carbon fiber, isn't it? Yeah.
That's all. These actually came overseas. This group here.
What company did Vestas was not over there.
Vestas is Danish. They're now producing in the United States certain components. Same with, again, the big three right now is probably Vestas / Vicon. They combined 3 years ago. Gamesa, the other one, Siemens. Siemens bought 2 companies out to come into the deal. GE bought out a company. That's how they got into Ponnequin out, and / Enron. They were produced to win. There's a couple other companies that are actually produced to win. And that was the one that built these units.
So how does this air brake work? Does it actually extend out and then turn?
Yeah, there's a hydraulic system.
It's a hydraulic system?
That pulls it in, and when it releases, it just pops it out and slows it down.
And this is all carbon fiber. The entire blade is all carbon fiber?
There is some balsa wood in there, and there are also some foam in there. Foam is to keep the blades from doing this. Those blades, this blade right here, this combination of those 3 blades and the hub, 14.5 tons, even with that.
Wow. So this whole blade weighs 14.5 tons?
There's 3 blades, yes.
Jeez.
So now you know why I need big cranes.
Yes.
The cell up there weighs 29 tons.
Wow.
It's a building, small building.
So is this has it been taken down for service?
I pulled the gearbox out.
Oh, the gearbox, okay.
The gearbox is missing. It's sent out for repair. We'll do that sometimes. And so when it comes back in 2 weeks, we'll put it back up and put it all back up
Are the
together.
gearboxes just not beefy enough, or is it just age, wear?
Well, I don't think they designed. There was a little bit of everything. We're actually working with a project with Enroll right now to see what some of the problems are. So I'm going to have 2 gearboxes that are going to be specially instrumented and all of the stuff down to Enroll there in Golden, and we'll actually set it up on a dynamometer and actually do the spinning, see what's failing on it, what the problems are. So we've seen things, mostly bearings are the first thing that goes out, and right after that is you got all this metal going in from the bearings, and there's a big ring gear. So all that metal settles out into the ring gear, and that causes problems on the ring gear, so which causes problem other places. So
ESTUS?
yes.
I have a question. So for young
Let's go.
people who are like looking at
Okay. Take those 2 green ones.
2 green ones?
Wow, this thing's huge. Hey Coleman, come here. See a reference to you. Come on over here. How tall are you, Coleman? 4'8". Okay, walk on over here. 4'8". It's big. And these aren't even the biggest they make. It's massive.
A step up from
20 years ago, it really is. You go
the ranchers are going to pull out of their problems.
Maybe the older ones would be very good for us.
the ones that have been in for a long time.
Yeah.
The blade goes approximately 22 RPMs.
These actually are running at 14 RPMs right now.
Okay, at 14 RPMs, how fast, what's the rotation of the rotor of the generator?
Oh, generator, it steps it up to 1400 RPMs at 14, and at 22 it steps it up to 1800 RPMs. So that gearbox does a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's why it says it's a very hard work. Every once in a while I have one here on the site, but I don't have one right now. They're all being repaired, so
So you can
they're not cheap. The ring gear in there cost me $22,000 to have it replaced, and we're actually we've done new designs on it to where we do a kidney pump. Takes the oil from the bottom, gets all the metals, and goes through a pedal and kicks it back on top. Most of that's to get rid of the fine stuff that you're on here. So we're looking at ways of making these units better. I've actually helped. We've worked on the generators over there. Gearboxes on this side over here, generators over there. Vestas had a problem with their generators and had 4 manufacturers, and all 4 manufacturers had the same problem. So it's a poor design, but we've actually went in and beefed them up, and we're starting to see a little better production out of them. I've had 40 out of 15 units over there. I've had 24 generators go bad since 2003. That's not good. A generator should be, like on the life of these, are now pushing 10 years on these generators over here. That's what you'd expect out of a generator.
Do they guarantee those, the manufacturer?
They'll do these bits. Yeah.
How many cranes to get this back up?
One large one and a smaller one. The large one actually will take all the weight in the middle, and then a smaller one here will keep the tip up until he can swing it back underneath him, and they'll just slide it right alongside of the tower and bring it straight up.
So what's the diameter of the shaft with the fixed to?
About like that. About 18 inches, I think.
So have you had any towers fail, the tower itself?
No towers yet. Like I said, the one unit over there, we had a, it's actually how the gearbox is, watch you've got cactus down below you, just, it's how the gearbox is mounted in there. It's got a set of 16, thinking about this, 16 on each side bolts. And these weren't properly torqued, and what happened is those bolts started doing this and they popped at the bottom, and when that did, the gearbox actually lifted up, turned over, and slid forward with the blades unattached to it and came to the ground.
The whole
This set of blades here and gearbox all came to the ground in about 4 seconds. I got to watch it, by the way.
wow.
You don't get too close to it.
I was closer. I was between here and that tower there, so.
So that was up
way
at the
too close.
that was way up top by the yaw bearing?
Yeah, they're up on top.
Oh.
See where the hole is? That's where it came down from, right there.
Oh, geez. So this one fell.
This one is the difference in, if you ever look on the Channel 9 news here, which is that tower right there. You ever see a set of blades looking like this? That's planned. You ever see a set of blades and it's destroyed all over? That's not planned. We get phone calls from people from Channel 9 saying, "You got a set of blades down." I go, "Yep, I know I got a set of blades down. It's planned." That one, they weren't even on when it happened. I said, that wasn't planned. It came down, and it came down hard. It destroys them. It'd be like thinking about your car, a fiberglass car, and letting it drop 150 feet. It just destroyed. It goes everywhere. We have a kid that needs to get to a soccer practice, so we need to get him going. We got some more questions. And I actually we've been asked to go by and look at the CU Buffalo on one of the turbines just up around the corner. So just a quick loop up and down, and we're going to head out of here, okay?
Right.
Dan, not to put you on the spot, but if we ever have any questions, can we call you? We have, you know,
my consulting fees aren't too bad. No.
It's just fascinating, and
no, you're more than welcome to do that.
Okay.
And a lot of you already have my cell phone numbers. I don't even know if I put it.
It's on the paper. Everybody has your cell phone number.
Well, actually, so that's fine. I don't care. I tell people, and I'm out here at this point here. There's sometimes my cell phone doesn't work when I'm out here, and when I'm in the plant, it doesn't work. Seldom me with. So.
Is it splined? Are these? Do they fit on a spline?
Well, each one of them, there's about 20 bolts around there, 24 bolts that go in there. And yeah, so there's a big metal contraption in there. There's three-sided metal contraption, and the bolts go through each one of those. And so that's hard fixed on these. Those are probably on a movable shaft on those over there.
The day they took that texture, they killed it.
So the air brakes you only apply
When I'm stopping.
well just when you're stopping. It's not for over speeding. Well, I mean, I guess it would be
over speeding.
Right, and that's the only time you
Only
do it.
time you want to do that.
Okay. But do they automatically do that in mile 56 or higher?
Yep, it's all done by the computer.
And it
Computer
automatically-
listens to what's going on up there.
It automatically,
says, It's, this condition's been met. This condition's been met. You need to put your brakes out.
Okay.
So we need to get your son moving.
Oh,
Or how's
Yeah,
your
I
time
think-
going?
yeah, I
we
think-
need to do we have one deal. We're just going to go down this fence line, come back up,
okay.
and we'll let this guy take a picture of the CU Buffalo.
Oh, cool.
Well, it's on the tower there, so we'll let him do that, and then we'll head out of here, okay?
Thank you very much.
All right.
It was really great.
You have to plant seeds.
Ken, Roland. Thank
Roland,
you.
yes.
Ken Roland.
All right.
Thank you,
So
Ken.
let's
Thank you very much, Ken.
let's get going again here, everybody.